So we're back, the Dan and Ninko show for episode 19. Wow, that's a
Getting
long.
up there.
We're just cruising along here, week in and week out. And you see the gear that I have on. You see the gear. You see the TB12.
Yeah.
You see the hat that they sent me in the mail. I wouldn't go buy this hat. All right, it's got a.
But did Tom actually send it to you, or was it just somebody at the TB12 studio?
No, Tom didn't send it to me. But I tell you one thing that he did send me, and I have it on right now. This lovely Canada Goose.
How many times did you sleep in it?
I've only caressed it one time when I got it in the mail. But anyway, this was, I'm really hot, so I got to take it off. But
is it like
if you compliment Tom on what he has on, because one time I was like, oh, that's a sick jacket. It's not too big. It's kind of light, because usually the Canada Goose jackets, they're like for going up to Antarctica and doing an expedition.
It's a little bit different in England.
Yeah, it's a little different when you're here because you're going in and out of places. So I was like, I wonder if they have like a light jacket, like nothing crazy. And he had it on. I'm like, wow, that's a nice jacket. And he sent me one. Yeah. Just like one time I complimented his watch. I said, wow, that's a nice watch, Tom. Tom, you got a guy I can talk to? Like, if I can get talk to a guy? And he looked at me and goes, do I have a guy? I'm like, yeah, he's probably got a guy. He's probably got the company. He's probably can talk to the owner.
Yeah.
But yeah, Tom's awesome. I'm happy for him. I am really happy for him. You have all the haters out there that were talking a lot of crap about Tom Brady before this season.
There's less haters this year, though.
Yeah, because because
he's not on the Patriots.
They've been so freaking beat down by him having success this year that they're like, we need to stop.
Like Max Kellerman now.
Max Kellerman's like, there's
he had another. He said he had another Hall of Fame career after he said that he was.
So
off
Max
the cliff,
Kellerman, there's like 2017, he's falling off the cliff.
It was like
2018,
it was like 2014.
He's one game away from falling off the cliff. 2019, it's gonna happen this year, I guarantee it. 2020. This is the year. It's happening right now before our eyes when they lost a couple games. And then now he's like, I was wrong. Yeah. I was wrong. Yeah. So but it's got to feel good. It's got to feel good to shut people up like that. And Tom, he does love it. I mean, he posts, him and Alex, like, trust the process. Yeah. Or do you believe in it now? It's like, I wanted to.
They giggle with each other when he's rubbing them down and everything.
I so badly wanted to put a comment. Go take on a fullback at inside linebacker and see if the bands help you out. Your ass to get dumped on your head. But TB12 is cool. I've done like the stretching and like the I guess the muscle pliability work.
Pliability, right?
But you can't like play certain positions and do. You can add that to your.
But doesn't Gronk do it?
Yeah,
he does.
And he couldn't block anybody in the first like 6 weeks because he was too skinny.
Yeah,
you gotta.
He's done it for the last few years though. Even
but
I mean,
Rob blocking now 2020 Rob versus like 2014 Rob.
Yeah, when he was like picking people up and
like if Rob listens to this, he couldn't block me in 2020. Like he couldn't do it. Like just because he couldn't do it. He couldn't do it. Like he used to.
He couldn't block you now either.
No, he could block.
2021.
No. I don't think he can block me right now because I'm a little bit nuts, and I'll hit him with the hat in hands, and then you stun him a little bit.
Out.
You stun him a little bit. It's like a boxer. You give him that and they go a little, oh, and then you shake them and you ragdoll them and you throw them.
I kind of want to see this.
we used to kill each other when we were younger. So like early in training camp when Rob was a rookie, I was a little bit older. So what? Rob's 31. So it was 5 years. Yeah. So I was in like my fourth year. What's 2009 or 10 when he got drafted?
10, I think.
So it was my fourth season in 2009, fifth season in 2010. So if he was drafted in 10, I was going into my fifth season, and we were playing like this. It was like a 5-2 type of defense to where I was the strong side linebacker. I always went to the tight end. So if it was, strong left, I go to left. Strong right, I go to the right. And I always followed the tight end unless it was trips far, and I'd go to the trip side. But anyway, people don't know what I'm talking about. So I would always go to Rob, and I'm like, this rookie, let's cover this guy. Couldn't cover him. And I had good coverage. It was like I'm close to him, but I couldn't.
Yeah,
I couldn't stop the ball from like perfectly being thrown by Tom and Rob getting it. It was like ridiculous.
And that's when your love affair started.
With Tom, no. I mean, I like Tom when I was a kid.
The combination.
So, funny story. I was in Northern State University in Aberdeen, South Dakota.
It seems like a good place. It's happening in town.
Yeah. If I would have went there, I was there for a visit after high school because I didn't have any looks. Nobody really offered me anything. So I was like, all right, I guess this one school likes me.
Aberdeen.
South Dakota. And I went up there, and that actually was the night of the Oakland game with the tuck rule. The tuck rule game. That was on the television. I was at like a house party, and it was like, I don't know. I felt like there was Buffalo Bill in the basement, like, holding people hostage, telling them it puts the lotion on its skin.
No other houses around.
It does what it's told. Luckily for my children and for my career in New England, it didn't work out. It didn't work out. And then
it would have been like
Then I went to JUCO, Joliet Junior College, driving every day to school. Going to class with the middle-aged, house mom that was trying to get their associates going back.
Yeah.
Nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that.
That's when you drove the Monte Carlo?
No, Chevy S10. My dad's
Monte Carlo's after that.
Had like 275,000 miles.
No.
So this, I swear, this is just, I had nothing to do with this. I'll tell you a story. So it was my freshman year at Joliet Junior College, and I used to have to drive from New Lenox, Illinois to Joliet on Interstate I-80. I'd go to, it's probably 20 miles, so it'd take you half hour, 40 minutes to get there. And every day you have to merge in onto the highway, get up to speed. You got a little 4-banger S10. You gotta put the pedal to the metal, man. Like you gotta get those RPMs up. So I would just stick it to the floor and just listen to it. And then it would hesitate to shift, but it was maxed out. I thought I was gonna blow a rod every single time I was merging. And just so happened I was talking to my dad. It's probably a Saturday. It was a weekend because he wasn't working. He usually works every weekend. And I'm like, yo, Dad, what would happen if the S10 just exploded? What would happen? And he's like, Robert, my dad's like, don't even say that shit, Robert. I'm like, all right. I hope it doesn't happen. I used to do the brake. I used to do the brake burnouts, just hold the brake down and just hold the gas. And it was a 4-cylinder. So I'd smash on the brake and I'd smash on the gas and I would just hold it for 10 seconds and nothing would happen. It was just and the tires,
and finally it would
the tires, and then finally the right, it was just only one wheel going.
Yeah.
It was just and then it'd start going. And once it was going, man, I'd sit on that thing for a long time. And so I asked him that on a Saturday, and then Monday, literally that Monday, I'm merging onto the expressway, pedal down, and my dad drives rough as hell. So this S10 was just abused its whole life. And as I'm merging, all of a sudden, it's just RPMs are going up, boom, and literally through a piston rod or a rod out of the side of the cylinder, it just exploded. And I remember just going, as I was going, and it exploded, smoke, tons of smoke. And I looked in my rearview mirror, and I just saw a trail of oil. Everything was gone. It was just all gone. I just rolled off to the side. I called my dad. I said, hey, Dad, I see a piston. I see the piston, and it's outside of the truck. It's outside of the motor. And he was like,
through the fender.
God damn it, you did that on purpose, son of a. I just heard him really angry. So then we didn't get rid of it. He had somebody, a friend of his, owned a junkyard. He's like, oh, we'll find a used motor. We'll throw it in that thing. It'll be great. So after he repaired it, at any point, when you could left-hand turn, at any point, if you accelerated a little bit too fast, it would just make this crazy pop noise and just not move. So it would go a little bit and just go beep, 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 and just stop. And so every time I would merge or get on somewhere, I'm like, okay, ease it on. Go, take the left. I'm like, okay, we're good.
There's a line of cars behind you.
Oh man, no, I was worried about getting killed by a semi.
Yeah, but if you're easing it, you're.
Oh yeah, you got to. You're
20,
so many people
22,
get. Yes,
23.
easing it on. And then I had that bad boy up till I got to Monte Carlo, till I got the Purdue scholarship.
Oh. And that's when the gates closed on it.
We sold it. We sold the S10 to a local landscape company That thing, if that thing could tell a story. So in Illinois,
You should go buy it back. You should go find it.
that thing's long gone. There was rust like on the doors, like already starting. So I used to take Rust-Oleum, and I would like scrape all the rust off with it was on the inside part of the door, and I'd scrape all the rust off, and I'd try and I would paint on the Rust-Oleum. I wouldn't spray it. It was like a paint can, and I'd paint it on there. That thing's long gone. But that particular truck in high school, I took it to a house party, and it was like at a farmhouse. And this farmhouse had a super long driveway, like, I don't know, 100 yards. It was like one of those houses that's in the middle of the field. So it was at night, and I'm like, all right, I was leaving. And I was just like, I wonder how fast this thing can go in reverse. Just, being a boy. Like, I wonder how fast this truck can go in reverse. So
not understanding how transmissions work.
So I put it in reverse. And literally I'm doing 30 miles an hour in reverse, like as fast as it'll go. It's just like tapped out. And I guess a car had parked at the end of that driveway on the street, and it was dark, and it was the middle of nowhere. They had no lights, no street lights, nothing. I don't have, headlights in my tail lights. So all of a sudden I hit this car doing like 30 with the back of the truck. I remember hitting the car, and everything stopped. Everything was like, the motor was still idling, but everything stopped, and I could still hear like pieces, like the lenses of the headlights, like the tail lights. I can hear like all the pieces still like hitting the ground after I was done moving. So I'm like, oh, that's not good. That is not good. So I got out, and my back tires were not touching the ground. I hit this Honda Accord so hard, it hit
like
the hood, slid up the hood, and basically was like an inch away from the windshield. So then I go home, I tell my dad, I'm like, yeah, Dad,
Did you take off?
I didn't take off I told the kid, I'm like, hey, I hit your car. I hit it pretty good. It's a little fender
just
bender.
go look at it a little bit later.
So I tell my dad, I'm like, Dad, I hit this car. I was coming out of it, because he's thinking, I was like, yeah, I was backing up out of a driveway. And I hit this car, and it was at night, so I really couldn't see how bad it was. So the next day, this guy's dad called my dad. He's like, yeah, the car's really messed up. I'm like, oh, let's go see. So we go to the guy's house, and my dad's like, how fast were you going? And I was like, as fast as it'll go in reverse. As fast. It was like $8,000. Like, it was the hood, the bumper, the front lights were gone, everything.
Total the car, basically.
Ugh, it was bad. And then my truck, my dad was like, well, I'm not paying for your truck. You got to figure it out on your own. So like, I took it to this local guy. It was like, my girlfriend at the time was like, oh, I know this my sister's friend does body work in his garage. Like, literally just his garage at home. And he like the whole bed of the truck was like crooked.
Yeah.
It was like up on one side. I couldn't use the tailgate anymore. The whole side was kinked out by the fender, and like the dude just basically pushed it back in, put a bumper on it, and painted it. It looked terrible. It looked absolutely terrible. I mean,
what'd you pay?
I zip tied like those S10s had these caps on the bumpers, so like it was the regular bumper. Then it had these two plastic pieces, and they I just took those two black zip ties and I just zip tied them in there. It was good to go. The next person that bought it
for it.
That
to do that,
like $800.
Oh.
Something like nothing. But anyway,
your dad's gonna listen to this show and just he
watches the show too. Pop, what's up, man?
He's gonna call.
He's got shot number one. He's already Ninko, Captain Insano's already got his first shot. He's getting the second one here in a little bit. He'll be on his way. He's coming for the Telluride.
Okay.
He's coming for one.
We're gonna get him on the show.
He's gonna get.
He can tell us more stories.
Yeah, he tell you a lot of stories. He'll tell you about the guy he might. He'll tell you about the guy he might have killed. He doesn't know.
You can't spoil that one. You can let him tell that one.
Well, it's in Vietnam. It's
Oh, okay.
Sir, it was in the service, so.
I think it's good. What do you got here? What do we got?
Oh, we got some night lights.
Some night shift.
Yeah, night shift. This is the good stuff. I'm kidding about the kill the guy thing. I mean, come on. Don't try and rob anybody. You won't get beat up.
Things are actually pretty cold still.
I stuck them in the snow outside. Let's see. This is a nightlight.
Have you had this before?
Nope.
That's actually pretty good.
It is good. Mm-hmm.
Good beer. So
my dad would be great on the show. He'd love to. He'd come in. He'd love it.
now
But
back
I got
to
to take
the,
off this exploring jacket here.
Yeah, you got to take that. You got to frame it.
Is that the Dan O'Brien?
Not mine, no.
This is the not a Dan O'Brien. This is the O'Brien Electric.
Yeah, it's my oldest brother. Or one of my older brothers. He's 6 inches smaller. So back to the Brady thing. You see the report of Tom Brady Sr. afterwards, where he talked about
there's
that Belichick's on the hot seat, and then obviously
I got Brody hair all over me.
I think it's good to talk about because I think you probably have one of the most experiences here, like where people are now saying that it was all Brady and Belichick deserves none of the credit of what's going on.
The only thing the only hot seat that I feel Bill would be on is just the fact that he that Bill got rid of Tom maybe a year or two too early, but that's so hard to say because it's so easy. Like if Tom went out there and had one injury, like one little like calf strain, then it would all been back to like Bill made the right choice. So it's at the end of the day, both of those guys, like you can't say that it was Bill and only Bill, and you can't say it was only Tom. Like it's almost like a marriage.
Yeah,
you guys are partners in this deal, and when everything works out nicely, both sides do their part. Everything is great. It's great harmony. But if one side's not doing their thing, and then that just doesn't work. So,
but 20 years together.
Well, 20 years.
Of.
Well, look about marriage. Let's talk about marriage. There's people that have been together 20 years and they hate each other.
Yeah.
Like you can't even. They won't even sit in the same room together.
Yeah.
So, there's definitely parts in relationships that can be annoying and it could be aggravating. And the business of football and their job is to make sure that they push out the older guys and they bring in new people and they still consistently, drive the force of what the NFL is. And what is that? That's cash. That's money. I think that the whole argument, is it Bill or Tom? Like it's ridiculous. The one thing that Tom can say that you can say about Tom is he does bring a sense of leadership and iconic GOAT status to your team to where if you have him in the offseason, if the Bucs don't even win the Super Bowl, they're in the Super Bowl, Tom's going to play next year no matter what. He's going to play. Like he's not retiring.
If he
You're telling me no, he's not retiring.
Okay.
He's going to win and he's going to be like, I can repeat because that's just the way he is.
Yeah.
Even if they don't win, there's going to be veterans, there's going to be receivers that are like defensive players that are like, hey, I'm in my 10th year, I'm in my 9th, 8th, whatever. I need a shot. I need to go to another I need to go to a Super Bowl. I need to try and win. Where do I go? What's my best chance of winning? Let's go down to Tampa.
Yeah.
No state tax, nice weather, Tom Brady.
Yeah, I can win
TB12. Super Bowl.
Well, he had the same thing though with the Patriots, right? There was always a lot of guys that came out of the woodwork that signed for cheaper.
Well, I said that earlier. I said that in the offseason when Tom was gone. I said that the Patriots always do a great job of approaching guys early before their contracts are up. Right? You offer them you offer them something that they basically like. If you're a free agent. You come onto that team and they dangle a carrot in front of you. You've never really made any money. It's like a first round pick. You dangle a carrot. They're like, my signing bonus was more than that. Get out of here. But if it's a young free agent or a guy that's a late round pick, they dangle the carrot. You're like, well, I haven't made anything yet. I take it, And Tom, always being a guy that didn't have the biggest contracts, wasn't the highest paid quarterback, even though he had all the Super Bowl appearances and MVP, all that stuff, then that trickles down to every single contract negotiation. Well, Tom, look at Tom. He's the best.
Yeah.
And he doesn't even get paid that much. So how could we pay you that?
Yeah.
What are you? I don't know. Are you a Sam? Are you inside? Are you outside? Are you small? I don't know. I don't know what you are.
Were you just repeating what was said to you?
That was who the heck was that? Floyd Reese, the GM before Caserio.
Yeah.
On my first contract was like, are you a Sam? Are you a DN? No. there's really no category for you. So you really don't, like, your value is
just sign right here.
Whatever it is, and you're young and you're like, yeah, I guess I suck. Yeah, I better take these scraps. No, I'm kidding. But then on the flip side of it, there's guys that reject that. They say, no thanks, I'm going to go to Cleveland. You play there 2 years. Their coach gets fired and sucks. You get cut with the new people coming in, and you're out of the league. And then you don't have a Super Bowl or don't have anything. So, there's really nothing in like, some guys can look back and say, yeah, I could have made more this way or that way. But, after your career's over, like, what do you have? Because at the end of the day, like, let's just be honest, like, football gives you an opportunity to build your own brand. But if you build that brand in Cleveland or you build that brand in Cincinnati, it doesn't really get you anything, because nobody remembers, like, teams that are 4-12.
Yeah, well, Brady probably made more money from endorsement deals than he did from his contracts.
100%.
You touched on one thing, which is, people saying that did Belichick let Brady go too early or whatever it is. I don't think he had a choice, really. I mean, you could only offer him X amount of dollars. You couldn't offer him more than what they did.
Yeah.
And then if he's on this team that they had constructed, right, they weren't going to win.
They weren't going to win.
I mean, maybe they make the playoffs, but they weren't going to win.
But there's also times where I feel like, and I don't know, this might not be accurate or not, but Bill understands the situation that the team is in, similar to the Jimmy G thing. Like, he could have shipped Jimmy G to Cleveland, but he decided to put him in with the San Francisco 49ers because I felt like maybe he thought that's a better place for him to be.
Yeah.
And maybe not bringing back Tom was going to help Tom out because he understood that the receiving core was lacking. There's all these guys that are going to be up. There's the cap is super maxed out right now. And if you bring Tom back and he's in his 43rd year, like 43 in this football season, and he doesn't look great and he doesn't have the guys to throw to and he's getting, hit, then that's like kind of like that career fizzling.
Yeah.
When as opposed to he goes to Tampa, he gets his money, he goes to the good receiving core, and now he's in the Super Bowl. And what are people saying? Like, everything you see on any social media, on any network, hands down GOAT, hands down greatest of all time. He did it again. 10 Super Bowls in 21 seasons. I mean, like, that's ridiculous to think about that.
I think at the end of the day, it's going to be a win-win for both Belichick and Brady. Right? That's what I think it is, because Brady's going to be able to go off on the sunset. Obviously, he's got a good year this year, should have a decent year next year. And then I think it allows Belichick to rebuild the team, where you have $70, $80 million in cap space this year. You either go out and get a young quarterback and draft, or find a veteran and start rebuilding the team at that point.
Nobody's talking about the 3 awful interceptions that he threw in that game. Like,
I know.
If he does that in the Super Bowl, Brady, like the
fadeaway. It was the worst. That was probably the worst championship game he's ever played.
The 3, like 2 of them were basically pressure was coming, fall down, throw it up into the air. As high as you can.
There should have been a 4th interception too. There was the 4th one dropped right before the touchdown in half.
Yeah.
And that was a bad throw.
Yeah, it was too. It was just like floated out there.
I think the corner didn't realize that. He was like, "What do you mean
he's like,
the ball's coming
ball's
to me?"
right at me. So, in the Super Bowl matchup, I don't know if Tampa has a chance.
You're not gonna take Tampa?
I never said that yet. Come on now. We still got another.
We got another week.
We got another week. I didn't say that.
I'll say it right now. I'm going to take the Chiefs.
You're taking the Chiefs.
Yes.
I'm saying that it's going to be difficult for Tampa to match the speed of Kansas City offensively. Hill's so fast. Kelsey, I feel like when I watch other teams game plan, because it just drives me nuts. It drives me nuts. You're going to let a guy like Kelsey just run down the field,
free.
Like nobody touches you
every time.
Nobody covers you. Like, it's like, let's play zone and like just not cover Kelsey, and let's let him catch the ball.
Let's give him 10 yards out.
It's like
in the middle
so
of the field,
stupid. Like,
leave him open.
Tony Romo was right, and I'm watching the game. He's like, you need to take one of these rushers, just like the Patriots do. Take a rusher, jam him at the line of scrimmage, add him in late. Boom. That's because if you don't touch the guy, the ball's going to be gone anyway. So you could have 6 rushers, and the ball's going to be gone. Yeah. So I watch some of these defenses, and I'm like, you have to be just dense, dumb, whatever it is, to not take away their go-to guys. Like, take away the go-to guys. Make other people.
Make like Hardiman beat you or
make
Watkins
other
beat you.
people make the catches that beat you. Because, at the end of the day, in big-time games, there's going to be certain players that have to step up, like there always are, unknown players that come in, they make a play, and people are like, wow, like that's
especially
the game.
In the Super Bowl.
In the Super Bowl. So it's going to be tough for Tampa. And then Tom, for example, if he has a little bit of pressure on him, like that's the Achilles heel. That's the issue. He can't even on those interceptions. There was a blitzer coming, and he just didn't want to get hit, so he just fade away through the ball, and it's like, okay,
that was one of the worst Tom Brady playoff performances ever. That game.
Starting a Super Bowl with a safety isn't good. Nobody talks about that.
But he still had a good game after that one, though.
Yeah.
How many times has he thrown 3 interceptions in a game? Like in one game? Just forget the playoffs.
Yeah, not often.
Not often. How many times? I haven't looked it up, but I don't think he's ever thrown more than 2 interceptions in a playoff game.
I mean,
definitely not a win. Definitely not a playoff win.
Definitely not a win. Yeah.
So like that's the interesting thing. I mean, they owe a lot to Matt LaFleur from the Packers. There.
LaFleur.
What an
idiot.
Yeah.
Idiot.
That was bad.
I mean, I don't know. It's a stupid move to not go for it. But like, where do you you know what? That's the issue with modern sports. Some nerd up in a box with the
says
numbers.
Kick the field goal.
Let's see here. But we better kick the field goal here, because if we kick the field goal, we will have a 62% chance of maybe getting the ball back. But let's see. It's Tom Brady. Tom Brady's coming onto the field at 43 years old. We have a 62% chance of getting the ball back.
That's stupid.
But it was stupid anyway.
Go for it. If you got look, you remember that?
You still need to score a touchdown.
What's that? Major League when Joe Boo? No. Help me now, Joe Boo.
Yeah. Joe Boo.
What's his name? The baseball player. It was in the second one.
Serrano.
Yeah. Serrano.
It's like Pedro Serrano.
Yeah. Or one of the ones he got. You got no marbles. You got no marbles. Yes. So. You gotta have the marbles, bro.
But that's not even the marbles, though. It's just it's his intelligence, because you still have to score a touchdown. If you kick a field goal, you still have to go back and score a touchdown.
Mm-hmm.
So what's the difference if you give the Tampa Bay the ball on the 8? What's the difference?
Yeah, because then you hold them.
Yeah.
And so you have 2 opportunities to tie the game.
You have 2 then. And you're 1 play away from tying the game, right? That's the difference.
You're 1 play away from tying the game. Well, actually 2, because you got to score and then you got to have the 2-point conversion.
Yeah.
They're down 8.
Yes, but the thing is, though, say you score and don't get the 2-point conversion. That's what some people were saying. Well, you still have to score
but then
again.
you still have to
kick
stop
a field
them.
goal at that point.
Yes, and then you win.
Yeah, you're down by 8. So if you score 6 and you don't score the 2, you are then still down 2. So then you have to drive the ball, on average 20, 30 yards to be able to kick a field goal, 40 yards. I mean, it was illogical. And even Aaron Rodgers said it after the game. That's not my decision.
Just freaking analytics. So ridiculous.
That's not my decision. You think Aaron Rodgers is going to be traded?
No. He ain't going nowhere. He'll be there. He was on Pat McAfee's show today. He was just saying, it was 15 minutes after the game. I'm emotional. It's just, he's not going anywhere. He's not. If I'm Aaron Rodgers, I'm saying, trade away that first freaking rounder pick that you got to replace me. Go get a receiver. Go get another weapon for me. Go get somebody else, because he hasn't lost anything.
You don't think Aaron Rodgers want to go to the 49ers or something like that?
Maybe.
Or
Cali. I'm going.
Yeah,
back.
End up on the Rams?
No, I don't think. Yeah, maybe. I mean, you can't say it won't happen, but the teams have the power to figure. If they want Aaron Rodgers as their quarterback, he's going to be their quarterback.
Yeah.
And I don't think Aaron Rodgers has the personality to just be an issue to where they have to trade him. So I think that he'll be there next year. I really do. I mean, it's got to be tough. I mean, when you start getting up there in age, what's he, 37 or 37, 38?
38.
Once you get up there in age, you start to realize, at
$30 million a year.
My bites of the apple here for a chance is slowly dwindling away.
Yeah.
And you don't have many left after.
you still, I don't know why.
And it's a lot of
want
work
to leave because at least you were still in the NFC Championship game. You were one game away.
It's
from
a lot of work to get to these games, and like that's the you saw, was it Diggs like watching the celebration like from the distance. It sucks because like you imagine that like before these games you try to really focus on what your job is. You try to really focus, on what you're supposed to do to win the game. But it's just human nature to think about, man, if we win this game, like I get to play in the Super Bowl. Like if we win this game, like especially we're in Buffalo, we're going to be like just we never buy another drink again. Never have to get get plate of free buffalo wings everywhere we go. So it's tough when you see that happen. And I remember in 2012, like right before, I'm not even going to say it, but right before we almost scored a touchdown, which would have basically put us up and we would have won that game in 2012 in Indy. Yeah. I was sitting there, I was on a knee, I looked at the scoreboard, and I said to myself, I'm like, man, we're really close. Like, I wonder what this is going to feel like to win. Like to win a Super Bowl. Like, I wonder what this is going to be. Like, we're so close right now. And I looked at the clock, I'm like, we're close. And then we didn't score. And they got the ball back, and I was like, ugh, this sucks.
All right, I think it's a good note to end it on.
Yeah, let's take a depressing break.
Yeah, we'll take a depressing break and go through
some drink.
Maybe talk about to see if your mind has changed on who the Patriots quarterback is going to be in 2021.
I know.
We'll be back.
See ya.
All right, so we're back here on episode 19, and I think a good time to talk, and a good thing to talk about right now is the Patriots in 2021.
Hey-o.
$60 million or $70 million in cap space. I mean, you got some teams right that are the top now. Buffalo has zero. Buffalo's $5 million over the cap.
New world.
The Chiefs are $30 million over the cap for next year.
Oh, how do you fix that? Cut people
or like restructure deals?
I'm gonna try this new world real quick.
Kick it down the road. I gotta actually try it too.
What's this one? That's a Mayflower Brewing Co.
So the biggest question on the Patriots is one position, right?
Oh wow, that's good. Oh my goodness.
The one position
that's really good.
That's a big problem for the Patriots. Obviously, is the quarterback position.
QB.
So you have stated for a long time that you think it's going to be Jimmy Garoppolo as the quarterback. You still there? Or are you starting to waver a little bit?
I think it could be Matt Stafford. You got Matty P coming back home. Home sweet home.
Yeah, but does Stafford hate?
Does
Stafford hate Patricia?
Way. Huh?
Does Stafford hate Patricia though?
No.
How do you know?
I don't. Maybe he does. I don't know. I wouldn't think he hates him.
But Matty P's not going to be a
coach. He's going to work. He's going to work around everybody.
You think he's going to be the next Ernie Adams?
Hold on a second. Burp.
I think he's going to be the next Ernie Adams.
Huh. Let's see here. That's how Ernie talks. I think Matt Stafford would come here. I do.
Well, he has no choice.
Yeah, he's not going to have a choice in the matter. I think he wants to get.
It's just going to be.
He wants to get the heck out of Detroit.
Whatever they get is best compensation.
He wants to get out of Detroit. Yeah. So, if I'm Matt Stafford, if I'm any quarterback with an opportunity to go somewhere, I'm going to Indianapolis. I'm going to the Colts because they have. Like, you got to look at like the big picture here. The Patriots 2021, like they need a good amount of pieces. They need tight end. They need a receiver. They need
defensive end.
They might need a center. They might need a guard.
No, there's no way. Maybe a guard. Well, the guard I think they have because I think they're going to go with one of the younger kids, but they're not going to. They're going to sign Andrews.
They might need a interior lineman. They might need a pass rusher. They might need a outside linebacker.
But the big thing with them though, is they have $60 to $70 million in cap space.
Yeah, but that goes quick if you sign a big time player. Like
it just depends how you.
If you sign if you sign Matt Stafford, half of that goes to Matt Stafford. $30 million a year, or whatever he makes.
I think they were saying that if he gets traded, he's like 20-something million. I
think
if he gets traded,
so you go from 60 to 40.
Yeah, but I think if he gets traded, he's already agreed to restructure his deal.
All right. Well, if you're Matt Stafford, you've already made enough money. Like, you want to go win and you want to validate your career with like winning. He doesn't have any playoff. Like, he's never been in the playoffs. The guy's, I think it's like he's the winning.
He's lost like every big
He's got
game.
like the most yardage, the most touchdown passes, the highest QBR of any non-winning team. Like, he's like the
How
best.
much of that though is Matt Stafford versus the Detroit Lions?
No, it's the Detroit Lions. That's why he's like, all right, look, I need to get out of here.
I'm not convinced of that though.
He's good.
I think
Matt
he's
Stafford's good. It's not his fault on some of these deals.
Is he just? But he's an indoor quarterback. He hasn't really won any big games outside. And in New England, you're going to be playing a lot of big games in the elements. Not just here. I mean, you have Ravens.
Anything's better than what we saw last year or this year. Okay. Like, we
can't say anything because he could go sign Shane Falco.
Shane Falco
from the Replacements. You remember
movie? That's Falco. Yeah, I was thinking Palco because he played for
Falco played for Kansas City. Left-hander. Also.
Yes, I killed that guy. I hit him so hard I vomited.
You vomited?
Yes. Yes, I'll tell you a funny story. We're playing Kansas City here. Palco's the quarterback. On this particular play, I don't know if you remember this play. He threw the ball. Somebody killed the receiver and it was intercepted.
Oh yeah. Arrington
intercepted it.
And whoever the safety was just destroyed the receiver.
Yes, on that particular play, I left outside linebacker. They didn't block me. I had a clean run at Palco, and as he's throwing the ball, like here he is, he's lefty, right? I'm coming from this side. He throws it like this. I hit him like that. Yum! Like I killed him. Like I was running as fast as I could. And I put my shoulder like right here on him, like, yeah. And when I hit him, I must have had, I don't know, too much water. Right? Like the last.
You just started like puking all over him?
As I hit him, I just like it took all the air out of me. And I remember hitting him and being like,
did you puke on him?
No. It was like, because I hit him like that. Yeah. And like, as I'm going down, I'm like, oh boy. And I hit the ground and I was like, ugh.
Yeah.
I mean, I absolutely crushed him. I think I have a old Instagram story of that, like old.
Yeah,
let me just flip down.
I definitely remember that game. I remember that. I remember the play, not for the hit on the quarterback. I remember it for because I forget who the safety was, but the safety lit up Dwayne Bowe, lit him up.
Oh,
and Arrington was oh, thank you.
I mean, I would love to get like a clear copy of this. Like, it's just like.
Can you see the puke?
No, it's just like a quick snip from when I like get a free run at him. Oh, there's my old Chevelle. How pretty you were. I know you're not a Chevelle guy. Right here, watch that. Can you see it?
Yeah. That was definitely a free rush.
Oh man, dude, no one touched me and just smack.
There wasn't anybody within like 10 feet
that
of you,
tight end,
20 feet.
That I almost said that word. The tight end messed up. He's supposed to stand and block.
That was bad.
Yeah, like that's just.
I mean,
run as fast as you can and hit somebody.
Everybody went left.
They the whole line slide. Whole line slide, smack.
Yeah.
Woo.
Yeah. And that's why you never heard from
Palco
crazy. Again.
Oh, Mac.
But
man, that hurt me too.
So
look at that sucker. Doesn't that thing look good?
No, it doesn't.
You're crazy.
So with the Patriots quarterback, I think we have to have two questions. I think there's two questions to this. Who do you think it will be or who do you think that Belichick will make as a quarterback? But who do you want to be the quarterback that's available?
I want Jimmy G.
Yeah.
I want Jimmy G because I like Jimmy G. I played with Jimmy G. I've seen his work ethic. I know he's had some shitty luck when it comes to staying healthy. The Patriots wanted Jimmy G. Bill wanted Jimmy G. Every one of the guys on that team respected Jimmy G. So go get Jimmy G. Go get him.
Yeah, but
I think the 49ers will let him go.
Yeah, but it has to be the 49ers have to get somebody. They have to. They'll let him go if they get Aaron Rodgers or Matt Stafford or something like that. They'll let him go. They ain't gonna let him go if they don't get one of those guys or Watson or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
But then who do you think it'll be? Who do you think Bill will make it? So Jimmy G's the guy you want.
I look like a golden retriever owner. I have fur all over me.
But so you want Jimmy G, But who do you think Bill will put in as the quarterback? Who do you think he'll be making the move to?
I think that they will not extend themselves too much. So they're not going to overpay a team to get somebody. Like, I feel like if they go for Jimmy G and they're like, oh, you really want him? It's going to be a first-round pick, 15 overall.
No, I mean,
like
because you gave him a second.
Yeah,
so.
like I'm saying if another team understands, it's just like buying a car. Somebody walks in and somebody gets off a bus and says, hey, man, I need a car. Yeah. You're like, this guy ain't leaving without a car. Let's get him a car.
Yeah.
Like the Patriots are
Jimmy
that
G's
team coming off the bus. They don't have a quarterback.
Yeah, Jimmy G at the high level brings a second pick, a second-round pick, in third or fourth is probably the round.
Yeah.
So I do see that Jimmy G could be something.
Didn't he left for a second?
What?
Didn't they trade him for a second?
Second, yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I mean. I don't
so
think
has he improved his stock since the second round?
No.
I feel like he went to a Super Bowl.
He went as a second-round pick on a rookie contract, rookie contract. He's now on a $25 million a year contract.
Which is a steal.
Shut up.
It's a steal.
Stop it.
It's a steal.
Stop it.
You know what? Go on my Instagram story. Guess where I was at today? Looking at a beautiful, was that 2018?
Yeah, 2018.
Ford GT and not a Mustang, the actual GT.
GT.
If I had 25 schmil every year coming in,
you'd be buying one. You'd have two.
I'd be driving home right now. Actually, I'd have my trailer here, pull it right up on that trailer, bring it to my awesome. I'd have a garage with the freaking marble floors. Gosh.
Instead, you got that over the whole career.
Yeah. I'm not complaining.
So then who do you think it'll be? Who do you think the starting quarterback is game 1, 2020, if you're thinking like you're Bill Belichick?
Oh, Matt Ryan. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I know. I think Matty P's coming from the Lions. He'd be a big input guy. Like, he's going to tell you exactly what you need to know. They brought another assistant from Detroit here, I do believe. I don't know his name. So they know what they got there.
Yeah.
So I think that if Matty P's on board and says, like, Bill, go get this guy. I was there for 3 years. He's a professional. He wants to win. He'll help everybody on this roster. He'll instantly give us a chance to win. Yeah. Stafford's our guy. And if you're Matt Stafford, you understand that where I am at, basically, has been dysfunctional since day one. You draft me, got all these issues. We never win because constantly. Why do some teams constantly lose every single year? It's the same teams. It all starts at the top. It's the Texans owner making a preacher the GM, making him the vice president of.
Did you see the report, though, that Bieniemy was interviewed by the owner and his wife, and they didn't include Caserio in the interview?
Yeah.
What the hell is going on there?
That just goes to show you that I just read an article about how the billionaires have made $1 trillion in this whole pandemic.
Yeah.
The people that make the money, they're smarter than you. They think that. Look at me. I got this. All right.
Yeah.
I'm going to hire who I want to hire. I'm going to bring in who I want to bring in. If they don't win, what is my value again? What is the Texans' value? What is the NFL franchise worth every single year goes up?
Yeah.
Meh.
That could be the worst one.
So what is
I'm
worth? $30 million?
Yeah.
$30 million.
Like $300 million, $400
No,
million.
I'm saying $30 million on a $30 million for a coach? Like, if it doesn't work out, it's a drop in the bucket.
No matter what you can do in the NFL, or any major sport, right? Baseball, basketball, hockey, football.
The TV revenue, the league revenue, the league revenue sharing alone is going to pay for any mistake you've ever made.
Yeah.
Like every year. You'd be like, yeah, well, I got like $25 million in dead cap to guys that aren't on my roster anymore. Well, I just got a check for $350 million. Should cover that. It's like the good teams that have good ownership, like the Crafts, that understand that football people make football decisions, and they're the ones that understand how to win and to bring in the right pieces. are going to help this team win, because just look at what the Patriot organization from the time the Krafts bought the place.
Yeah.
But I mean, granted, you can take the whole league in general. Like a team that was $100 million or $50 million is worth $1 billion. You know, the Krafts bought the team for what, like $175 million or something. Now it's worth $4 billion.
Yeah.
You know, the Cowboys were the number one franchise ever for the whole history of the NFL. Whatever. You can look back to the 90s. They were the number one franchise. They were worth what, like maybe $500 million then? Now they're worth $6 billion. So like this whole thing is taken off at an incredible clip. And some of these owners, they don't care.
No.
Like winning and losing, they're like aliens. Like explain it this way. My grandpa used to tell me this all the time. He said, look, there's levels to this thing. You know, there's levels. Like you got deep pockets. As you go up as you go up the levels, there's like outer space. Like, you know, they don't eat the same food we eat. They don't fly on a JetBlue flight. Are you kidding me? They don't go through the security checks. They don't drive the cars we drive. You know, they don't even know what the real world is. Like they're in a different stratosphere. Like, oh, you need a babysitter? Babysitter? Don't you have like a full-time like other people, mother right? or other person that takes care of your kids? And like, what are you talking about? I can go wherever I want anytime.
Is that because you're watching the Netflix show on the monarchy thing or whatever it's
I didn't
called?
see that, but
yes, you did.
No, I didn't watch that.
I thought you did.
No.
Oh.
No, I haven't watched that.
Oh.
I'll have to now. But it's a different like just. It's a different way. It's just a different way of life.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, hey, where do you want to go? Would you like to go to dinner tonight? Yeah, let's go to dinner. Where do you want to go? You want to go to Miami for dinner? Let's go. Jump on the plane. Let's go. You know, it's just.
Who cares if it's 20
Who
grand?
cares?
Yeah.
Well, I own it. So I'll charter it out and I'll make more money.
No, you're 100% right there. It goes to different levels.
It goes to different levels. And, you know, it's the same way from just, you know, my dad was a middle-class iron worker, worked his ass off. My mom's a teacher. Like, I had a great upbringing. Like, I didn't want for anything. Like, yeah, maybe not a S10 with 275,000 miles on it.
Got a Monte Carlo.
That sucker had 31,000 on it.
Yeah.
And I sold it, and I didn't even own it.
Oh, it's going to be another story?
Yeah. No, this is great. So I got drafted. I drive down to New Orleans.
You were in the Monte Carlo still?
Yeah. Well, I just got drafted. I'm just out of college.
Okay.
So my old man is going to watch this one too. So
this is the episode that's going to set him off.
This is great. So I get drafted to the one place I didn't want to go. At the one place, like my mom asked
the one place.
My mom asked me the day of the draft. She goes, "Rob, what's the one team you don't want to go to?" I said, "Ma, I don't want to go to New Orleans."
How? There's
Katrina,
so many other terrible things.
Katrina, no, in 06, 05, from 05 and look at the Saints record from like whatever to 05. They were awful.
Yeah.
They were terrible. And Katrina had just come through. The city was a wreck. The city, I'm telling you, I love New Orleans now. And it's like I'm forever attached to New Orleans.
You made gumbo the other day.
I made gumbo. Come on now. Hey, come on now. A little gumbo. But anyway, my wife's from New Orleans. I love New Orleans. I love Louisiana. I love everything about it. The culture, it's great. Before that, I had no idea. I was a northern kid. I had nothing, no knowledge. I had nothing. Wanted nothing to do with the South. So my mom asked me, "Where do you want to go?" I said, "I want to go to New England." Like that's where I wanted to go.
That was the number one choice?
That's where I wanted to go. I was worked out by Dean Pease, the D coordinator. Like he worked me out. I thought that I was going to come here, or I thought maybe like Buffalo because they worked me out too. And my phone rings. I look at it. I'm like, man, I don't know that. I don't know that. 504. Like, I don't know that. I thought it was maybe Massachusetts because it was 135. Pick 135 was New Orleans. Pick 136 was New England. And at that time, I was kind of like fed up with it. I'm like, it's the first pick. It's actually it was the fifth round was coming on, so it was like the end of the fourth. I'm like, I'm going upstairs. Like I just went up in my room. I had the draft on in my room, and my phone rings. I'm like, man, 504. Uh-oh. I pick it up.
We were hoping for like.
I thought it was the Patriots. Yeah. I thought it was like literally New England because I was looking at the ticker and you could see the picks who's up. So it was like New Orleans, New England.
It said like New Orleans pick is in, so you just thought it was New England.
I thought it was New England, and it was Sean Payton. He's like, "Hey, we're the Saints," and I instantly was like, "Oh my goodness." So I went and I looked at the roster, and they ran a 4-3 defense, and at the time I was 6'3", 260, so I was looking to be an outside linebacker. All their DNs were 6'3" and up, 300 pounds. Charles Grant was like 6'4", 310. Will Smith was like 6'2", 300. Like the dudes were huge, and I'm like, I'm not even gonna fit in this. Like But anyway, so I get in the car, and this is when I had to go down there. My old man's coming with me. As we go down, I'm driving along. We hit Louisiana. So it's like close to where all the damage is, but not yet. So when you're going into the city, you get on like these bridges, and it's going over basically the bayou. Stuff I've never seen in my life. So as I'm going, I'm looking, I'm like, oh, there's a dresser just in the middle of the road. And I keep going. I'm like, there's a queen-size mattress. Like I'm talking like a queen-size bed. With a person on it. A queen-size bed on the actual bed. Like the whole frame. Like the whole thing. Like it was like a freaking wood thing. I'm like, okay. We keep going. There's a house, like a whole house, like in the water on its side, because they have houses that are like out in the water. Yeah. It was just sitting in the water. I'm like, gee. And then when you get off that bridge, you get on Airline, and it goes past the airport. And what they were doing at that particular moment, they were still like super, super behind everything. They were taking all the trash from everything, like houses that there were still houses that had never been gone through, doors that haven't been opened. Like the flood lines were all over the city. You could see where the water lines were. It was everywhere. And they were taking all the trash, and they just put it in the middle of the road. Like they just put it in the middle. And like there were literally piles of trash. You couldn't see over to the other side. It was like just trash everywhere. It was crazy. It was crazy. And then on top of that, they didn't have a facility because the whole facility was taken over by FEMA, and they had people in there, and they had people sleeping everywhere. They didn't have a stadium because the stadium, the Superdome, we all know that flooded, and there was a lot of terrible stuff that happened there. So we had to go to Jackson, Mississippi. We went to Millsaps College in Jackson, Mississippi to do our training camp. It was my skin. I don't think it ever recovered. I literally felt like I was cooking every day. I was like baking because we were on turf because they didn't have grass. Like the grass fields were all slanted. So they're like, we can't play on the grass because it's all messed up. I'm like, all right, well, I guess we'll go on the turf. Let's go on the turf. Like you would douse your feet with like ice water because they would burn. Like your feet were on fire because of the pellets and stuff. It was crazy. And then I blew my knee out.
And then you were
in the Superdome in the opening game. Like, oh, we opened the game up. Saints are coming. Yeah.
So you're happy when Miami picked you up?
No, I was miserable when that happened. But we could do a whole show on that. Like we can do a whole show.
I think we should do it like like how Happy Gilmore.
But I gotta get back.
Billy Madison has it with like the.
I gotta get back to the Monte Carlo thing. So this is where the story was going. So I get down to New Orleans, drive down with my old man in the Monte Carlo. He flies back. I had it for like a week. I'm pulling up to the players' parking lot in a blue Monte Carlo, and I see Rolls Royces, jacked up trucks. Reggie Bush was in my draft class, so he had a H2 like on 30s. It was ridiculous. Roman Harper was the second round pick. He had bought a SL 550 black. He still owns it, by the way. Jari Evans was the third round pick. He bought a like green Escalade, and I'm like, I'm in my blue Monte Carlo. So I went to the Chevy store. I went to the like best Chevrolet owned by the Saints owner, Tom Benson. So I go in there and I'm like, yeah, I'm going to trade this. Monte Carlo. I traded the Monte Carlo, bought a truck. I didn't own that Monte Carlo. It was my dad's name. I gave it they literally all the paperwork was done. Car was gone. I sent it like a picture of my like the truck to my dad. I'm like, what do you think of my new ride? He's like, what about the Monte Carlo? I said, I sold it. He said, I didn't own it yet. He was making payments on it. I was like, I didn't know that. He's like, well, you gotta help. You gotta pay it. You gotta. I need that money to pay this off. I'm like, all right. So I gave him the money. I paid it off. I bought it back. Dad, I bought it back. You said, hey, I'll give you a car if you get a scholarship. I bought it back. Thanks.
How mad was he?
He was like confused. He's like, how can you do that? You didn't. It'd be like me taking someone's car and being like, I'm trading it in.
Yeah.
And then like you just trade it in.
Yeah.
Maybe it was the last name, but I bought a 2006 Chevy Silverado Classic. So it was like, when they're,
you went from a Monte Carlo to like a base Silverado.
A base Silverado. I got a base 2-wheel drive Silverado, gunmetal. It was actually nice, cloth interior. It was awesome. Not a big motor, so it was like the 4.
So when you pulled up, you were like, "I'm
at least I'm in a truck.
I'm in a base truck versus a Monte Carlo."
Yep.
Was Monte Carlo an SS?
Oh yeah.
Oh,
cloth interior though.
You definitely screwed that up though.
That cloth interior.
Should have stayed in the Monte Carlo SS.
The truck was cool until I went for a pair of gold toe socks and because when I bought the truck, I'm like, all right, I paid $21,000 for that truck brand new in 2006. And I put leather interior in it. I put a system in it. I tinted the windows. I went to go get gold toe socks. I remember it like yesterday. I go into the mall. I literally went to the mall, Lakeside Mall in Metairie. I think it's in Metairie, Louisiana. They're inside job or something. I don't know. Or they knew I was. I don't know. I really, to this day, I don't know. Went in the mall, got a pair of socks, walked out. My truck was. The window was smashed. All this. They didn't like take out my because I put like one of the nice like touch screens in.
Yeah.
Went back in 06 when it was cool to have like the big navigation screen. They like crowbarred that thing out, busted the whole dashboard, screwdrivered the window, broke like the pillar was all messed up, ripped out my speakers.
Like, I don't want to be here anymore.
So I literally drove it to the dealership, broken window. Everything that day gone.
What'd you get?
I bought 2007 Silverado leather interior.
Oh,
LT1, not a 2, which my dad still drives. I gave it to my old man when I came up here in 09. I bought a 4x4. I was like, I need a truck.
Yeah, you can't have a
two-wheel drive. So I gave it to my dad. My dad drove it.
He drives it in Chicago.
You put sandbags in the back. He still drives it. It looks great. It still looks awesome. It's no rust. I mean, it keeps it clean because we're a little bit nuts. It's got like 150,000 on it miles. Gave it to him at like 32. I didn't really drive it that much.
No, that ain't bad.
No, that's it. I mean, it's still rolling.
So you're back to you want Jimmy G, but you think it's going to be Stafford.
I want Jimmy G, but I don't think the 49ers will give him up. So I think that Stafford is going to be dealt. And he's going to go to the Patriots because the Patriots understand how vital that quarterback position is.
So I hope it's Mac Jones.
He looks like me with a shirt off.
Yeah, but so did Brady, though.
True.
But
it's not all about the physique.
Yeah, but it's about winning.
You think Mac Jones is going to be the answer at quarterback?
That's what I hope. Well, it's not just the answer
not
today.
This
year, but like you have to build something.
You have to understand. Bill's like closer to 70. He's not thinking like I'm going to build this thing up for the next 10 years.
Do you think that he's going to be just sitting at home, like when he's 75?
No, he's going to be like the president. He's going to do what like Parcells did. Like he's going to come in and be like he's going to oversee the operations.
He's always going to be involved in it. That's what I hope. I think it's either going to be,
especially now that so you think about it. Flo's a head coach. Vrabel's a head coach. Mayo will be a head coach. Judge is a head coach. All these guys that have worked underneath him, like the second Bill's like I'm retiring, every single one of those disciples is going to say, come like just be an evaluator of talent. Yeah. Like just come evaluate you don't have to come in every day. You could be at your place in Naples.
Yeah, but he'll be with the Patriots though, because I don't think the Kraft will let him go. They'll pay him whatever. But I think I want it to be Mac Jones. Cause I think it helps build. I think you could do something where you can trade some stuff and get like Waddle and Mac Jones in the draft in the first round. I think it's going to be though either Stafford or Jimmy Garoppolo, because I think it's going to be Stafford. Because the Patriots have the 15th pick in the draft, they can trade the 15th pick to get him. Mm-hmm. The one team that could up that offer is the 49ers with the 12th pick. So obviously if they trade for Stafford, then they let go of Jimmy, so the Patriots get him. I think Patriots like number 1, number 2 is Stafford number 1, Jimmy G number 2, I think is the way it's going to be.
Yeah.
I think it'll be that combination. But I hope they use the draft. They could build. You don't have to win this upcoming year fully. You could make the playoffs with somebody like Mac Jones and get that dynasty going and rebuild it. But
yeah, I mean,
who knows?
I think they'd have a better shot of going with a veteran guy that's experienced what the NFL is about versus a rookie.
Yeah, but I think that they'll draft Mac Jones and then sign a veteran. Somebody like a Tyrod Taylor or Ryan Fitzpatrick.
So he'll be like
one of your favorite quarterbacks ever. Cam Newton.
Ugh, don't do that. That'd be silly.
But if they draft Mac Jones and they give
you're gonna
Cam
have to pay
Newton,
Cam Newton
$5,
10. He's not gonna go.
No.
He's not gonna come back for $1 million like he did.
He'll come back for like $5.
Would you pay him $5 million to give you what you got this year?
I'm telling you what I think's gonna happen. But
that's the thing that bothers me too. Like, well, the market dictates what guys get paid. If you suck, you shouldn't get paid anything.
Yeah, but a team will pay him.
I don't think he's going to get paid.
He's going to end up in Washington, I think.
I don't think he's going to get paid. I think he's going to be a backup.
I think he could be a backup, but like with the short leash front quarterback that you can get in. I think he ends up in Chicago or Washington.
He can't throw a football. Like, what do you pay a quarterback for? To throw the ball.
Yeah.
I'd much rather anybody that can throw than a guy that can't if he's a quarterback. So, I don't know. Unless he does like some crazy Fountain of Youth thing on his shoulder and he can actually throw. I don't see it. I mean, maybe somebody brings him in to be like a decoy, like to where he could come in like
a Taysom Hill.
Like a Taysom Hill, but he can't run anymore.
Yeah.
He's like an old boxer. He's been hitting the head a lot. Like a lot.
He's had a good career.
Great career.
Yeah.
But he ain't got it.
I think it's good to probably stop here. But the one thing I want to talk about careers next is the Major League Baseball Hall of Fame. I don't know if you've seen anything on it recently.
I haven't.
Okay.
No, I saw a little bit.
All right. I'll let you know about it.
All right.
And then we'll be back in a couple minutes.
Cool.
All right, so we're back here with the Dan Ninko Show, episode 19, I think is what we said it was. So I'm going
19.
19. The one thing I want to talk about now is the Baseball Hall of Fame. The writers for Baseball Hall of Fame, it was 11 to 13 writers decided that they weren't going to vote.
Off the field, he was...
because of the off-the-field issues.
Oh, gosh.
So you still have guys like Roger Clemens,
stupid.
Barry Bonds, Curt Schilling. You have guys like that. I mean, it's going to be interesting next year.
The issue that I have, it's so ridiculous because the thing is, baseball was about dead.
Oh yeah,
was on its
before
way.
McGuire and Sosa.
On its way to the freaking trash heap. It was on its way, and then I can remember McGuire. I was from Chicago, so the Sosa, Sosa craze,
it was huge, right?
Dude, like.
Up here,
I remember being a kid and watching like the All-Star game, the home run derby, and McGuire's hitting the freaking concrete pillars like off the back of the stadium, and then Sosa comes up and he's hitting 400-yard, 500-yard bombs off the back of the stadium. It brought back baseball. Like baseball was dying.
It was dead.
Now it's dying again. It's dying again. But anyway, it brought it back, and I'm not saying that I'm not condoning anything. Whatever those guys had to do to get that big and strong, whatever. There was a lot of other players that weren't that big and strong, that weren't hitting those home runs, that were doing the same shit. And it helped baseball get back to a point where they felt like they were coming back up on the climb
back
here.
In the golden age of baseball, people were doing cocaine before the games.
And if you go back to before technology and things were getting out, and even like Pete Rose, like, do I think that he should be banned for life because of the things that he's done? What did he bring to the game that helped push the game up into a category where it was continuing to be successful? People wanted to watch the baseball. People wanted to root for their teams. People wanted to go to the ballparks. Like, the game now, and I know it's slow and nobody can go to the games now, but when you go to a baseball game now, it's just like, ugh. The guys, I love going
to a baseball game.
I like going to baseball to drink a lot of beer and get a hot dog, have peanuts, and I bet on if we go, we got to go to a game when it's back. Gamble all game. We'll sit there on the front row by the dugout. You know, every time the balls flip after an inning, $100. Does it land in the dirt or does it roll off into the grass? It's fun. You go in through a guy if he's up to bat, single, hit, strikeout, walk, all on money. Yeah, that's fun. That's how me and Guskowski used to go and we'd gamble on it. It was fun.
You know, baseball, it's tough because you hit the nail on the head there. You know, when all these guys were coming up, baseball was dead.
Yes.
You know, when Sosa, McGuire, Palmeiro, Barry Bonds, all that, baseball was dead before them. And there is no way baseball didn't know these guys were taking steroids. No way.
They turned their cheek.
But it wasn't illegal technically according to the rules. It was not illegal at that point. So you basically make a decision. These guys aren't going to make your Hall of Fame, which should be judging, right, how good a player was on the field by that, because, you know, you're a baseball writer and you're going to sit there and, you know.
I think the issue that I have too is like the shilling stuff, like off the field stuff, like.
Or after his career.
No, what I'm saying, like off the field after his career, like tweets or like your political like stance,
that's all
or you know, like all that stuff. Like, it should have no weight on your performance as a baseball player. No. What you did on the field should be recognized, and if you did something on that baseball field that was worthy of being a Hall of Fame player, because the Hall of Fame, I mean, every player at some point wants to look back on their career and say, man, I did the best I could. Yeah. And the guys that get that Hall of Fame status, it's like forever going to put you in that immortal baseball legend, football legend, Hall of Fame for history, to where, like, you know, in 10 years when I take Everett and Wyatt to the Football Hall of Fame, and I could say, look, that's Howie Long. Like, he was one of the greatest DNs in Oakland history, and that's Terry Bradshaw.
That's Tom Brady. Daddy wanted to hug him all the time.
Look, I'm still wearing his jacket. Boys. Like, it's for history, and it's basically to preserve history in the moments over time. So you go to the Football Hall of Fame, and I've been there, and you see all these players from, you know, a long time ago, and you don't know who they are. You just read about them, and you're
like in their socks.
Yeah, like you look at all these guys that played a long time ago, and you read about them, and you see the rings, the history of the rings, the row of rings, and how they've changed over time, and you sit there and just like, that's history. So, you know, for baseball to ignore what those guys have brought to the game because of, I mean, a lot of guys were doing the PED stuff. A lot of guys.
There were terrible players.
I
mean, at the end of the day. So
it's like, you can't, and if their careers at that particular point, the things that they were doing were not illegal, then it's not illegal. Yeah. Then they were doing what they were doing the best that they could to play a game at the highest level, and they were trying to make money, and they were trying to provide for their families, and they were trying to set records and do everything that they wanted to do. When you're 10 years old, you're like, I want to play baseball. I want to play baseball. What do I got to do to play baseball? I got to be the best at this. I got to be the best at that. They helped the game I think the whole non-vote thing, and then what is it? Schilling was like, take my name off the ballot.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that's a little like whiny baby.
But you gotta look at though, like a guy like Barry Bonds, that was so dominant, right? It would be first and second. They would walk him with 1 out or 2 out or no outs because they were so afraid of him hitting a home run. And the guy hit 70+ home runs.
I don't care how much performance enhancing substances you take.
Yeah.
I don't care what you take. It's not going to help you hold a bat and hit a ball
and hit the
going
ball.
100 miles an hour. Yeah, when you do connect with it, it's going to go farther, but you still have to have the eye-hand coordination. You still got to put in the time in the cages. You still got to have all the talent to do it.
Yeah.
Because guess what? There's dudes right now at freaking local gyms that are juiced out of their minds. But guess what? You put them on a football field, their asses are going to get killed.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter.
Well, you look at a guy like Roger Clemens. He struck out. I mean, we can all agree that in the 80s and 90s when he was with the Red Sox, he wasn't on steroids. He was 160 pounds. He struck out 20-plus batters in a game. 20. I mean, the guy was consistently the best pitcher in baseball. Barry Bonds was the best hitter in baseball.
Then he was 280 at the end.
Yeah. Barry Bonds' head size went up a ton.
He went from a 7 to a 8.
Yeah, but during that time, he was the most dominant player there was. That's what the Hall of Fame is supposed to be. And at this point, it's just like you almost need to boycott the Hall of Fame because it's not true. I mean, just think about it, right? You're going to take your kid to Cooperstown, right? And you're going to go, here, in the late 90s, early 2000s, look at the players that were great. Craig Biggio, Mike Mussina, and you're not going to say Barry Bonds, Manny Ramirez, Roger Clemens. You're not going to say those guys, which is just crazy to me.
I'll say those guys.
You will?
I'll say those guys.
You'll bring it right in and say, this is bullshit. I'm going to bring my sons
I'm going to bring my own guys in. I'm going to put Sammy Sosa's face, boom, right there.
But then it takes you back to, like, right now with the Super Bowl going on, right? Tyreek Hill.
Yeah.
Nobody's going to say what he did, right?
I think football's different, though. I feel like football...
He broke his kid's arm.
I know, but I feel like in football, they all think we're savages anyway. They think that we're not... Like, I go do stuff and, like, I speak... I was working for a bank. I go to these events and I meet people. And I feel like, oh, how long did you play football? 11 years. Ooh.
They come up, like, pat you on the head.
What? Do you remember my name? Like... Where did you go to school? I don't know why this accent is the way it is. Where did you go to school? Purdue University. That's a very smart school. Yeah.
Did you make chicken?
Yeah. Like, how did you get in? Did you bribe someone? Like, no. I guess I'm pretty smart. Maybe. I don't know. Like, I played football. Yeah, it's gonna catch up to me in my 60s, 70s. But right now, I feel pretty damn good. Yeah.
They always like tap you at the end.
They judge you.
Like,
I feel like football players are looked differently. Like. Oh, I'm a big bad football player. I play football. I hit people real hard. Yeah. It's like they think that a football player is more of a savage sport. So it comes with the territory of being a football player. Like, oh yeah, they're more aggressive. They're really aggressive people. Yeah. So baseball, it's more like civilized, I guess. Yeah. Like the people that are voting for all these Hall of Fame inductees.
The problem is everybody bends to public opinion, right? People forget.
I mean, come on. Look at the world we live in right now.
Ray Rice was a good player. He never got another chance after that video was released, right? Yeah. Never did.
Well, he was an idiot, and he was
100% idiot. But why did Adrian Peterson and Tyreek Hill? Why did they get the second chance?
It's all
and Ray Rice
because the media, just like it does with. I'm not going to dive into it. But once the media gets a hold of something, they shape it.
They shape it to what they want it to be.
And then so here's the deal: once they categorize something and they put it in a context that would be very, very, very bad for another team to give an opportunity for someone that did that a chance, they're done.
Yeah,
they're done. Kind of like, and it's sad to say. Tim Tebow.
Yeah.
Tim Tebow. All the guy did was pray.
Yeah, no.
But nobody wanted to take the Patriots gave it they did because they're like, all right, well, whatever. We have the coaches, we have the players on this team that could really we ignore the noise. But just because of the fact that the guy praise. They didn't want the circus of a media circus that would come with having Tim Tebow because he took a knee and because he prayed and because he was religious and he was a virgin and all this stuff. It's like it's so stupid. Just like Antonio Brown or like once a guy gets to a certain point where the media gravitates all their energy to asking questions about that one specific act or person, and it takes away from what the whole organization wants. They don't want anything to do with it.
Yep.
They don't want anything to do with it. And granted, I mean, Tim Tebow, like, he's a great college football player, like, unbelievable. Heisman Trophy winner, national champion.
Won a playoff game.
With
the Broncos. Yeah.
But he wasn't a great pro football player, like a pro quarterback. Nothing against, but I felt, I almost was like, this is ridiculous. Like, it was when he came to New England, I'm like, there's ridiculous expectations put on a guy just because he took a knee, and prayed. It's like, just let him play football. Like, leave him alone. And then the guys that put themselves in it, but I don't feel bad for guys like Ray Rice or AB that put themselves in a negative light because of the idiotic choices they made. They did it to themselves. And, I mean, I was raised, you don't ever touch a female. So Ray Rice got what he deserved on that one. He didn't, but once the media gets a hold of it,
it's just
and the general population absorbs that, like, it sucks. And it
what you're seeing now with like the OJ thing, everybody's like, he needs to come out of the Football Hall of Fame. Well, I mean, he was inducted before everything, all that stuff.
That is our society today, though.
It should be what you did during this time frame.
Just like how baseball, in the time frame that these guys played, from the 90s to the early 2000s, what did their careers do? What records did they set? What did they do in that specific time for baseball? Because even if they feel like in that particular moment there was something going on where they were, I don't know, the PD or whatever, it still should be documented that these guys were the best. And maybe there's an asterisk or like, hey, or a little like, like.
You have to be stupid to think that a large percentage of baseball players were not on it.
They were all on it.
Because in Clubhouse, right? If Mark McGwire was on it,
listen,
if you were the next guy in line with Mark McGwire, you would take it, right?
In Boston, like the clubhouses, from what I have learned over the years, a clubhouse used to be, a guy would go back into the clubhouse, have a beer, cigar, cigarette, or smoke a blunt, and then go back out and hit again. Yeah. Like, that was like their own sanctuary of whatever they wanted to do.
The biggest thing with it,
That's what I'm saying. The Red Sox, like they had beers, like, and then even football. Like, you look at like old 80s Redskins training camp tapes where like Riggins, and they had like a club out at a shed after camp. They'd go smoke cigarettes and drink beer in the cold tubs. Like, that was normal. That's what they did.
Yeah.
And
that was the era.
Everybody did it.
Or a large percentage.
A large percentage of guys
that could do it.
They would go, like, I mean, you look back at early, clips of football, like back in the day, there's coaches smoking cigarettes. There's players having cigarettes. Coaches had like
on
hats.
The sideline.
Yeah, on the sideline, smoking cigarettes. So that's what it was. So let's not try and push that into like, let's forget this. Let's just like never show this again, because back then they didn't know.
Yeah.
They didn't know that cigarette. Like, back then they used to sell cigarettes as like a healthy, like,
to like 10-year-old kids.
Yeah. Like, oh, have a cigarette. It's refreshing. Like, this is a refreshing smoke. Brings you up. It's like they just that's what it was. Yeah. So that was the way of life then. So let's make sure that we let's document it. Let's have I want to see the pictures of the guys smoking cigarettes on the bench.
Oh, there definitely was.
Like, I want to see it. I want to see that. I want that always documented. Yeah. Even if my kids, I'm just like, hey, Everett, don't smoke cigarettes. But that back then they didn't know.
Yeah.
That's
history. I do find it interesting that when you were working for the bank, that everybody was English talking to you.
Well, so cheerio.
So was the bank in England?
It was in England. Yes, I used to go to England.
Just go over there all the time.
Did you play American football? What we call real football. A soccer player. They are tough. That when I was in, so I was playing for the Dolphins in 2007. They were the first team to play in London, and we played in Wembley. So me and Matt Roth go out like to a pub, like a local pub, and like we're talking to a group of people, and like there was like a couple girls there, and they're like, "So you wear pads? Like you wear football pads?" Like, yeah. So you're saying rugby players are tougher? I said, if we didn't wear pads, we would die. If rugby players hit each other like we hit each other, they would not live. Like you need helmets, you need all that
So
stuff.
You got mad?
No, I just like that's just like you go over there and you realize like they don't understand American football.
Yeah.
Like just like I don't understand perception versus reality. It's like, so you're gonna wear pads? It's like, yeah, we wear pads because we hit each other in the head as hard as we can.
And some of us run like 25 miles
an hour.
And
if we don't have pads on, like we would die or something bad would really happen to us. But it's just it's funny because in 2007, that was the first year they ever went there. And when we went into the stadium, nobody, like the fan base, like everybody's from England, they didn't know football. Like I saw like a Ricky Williams jersey. I saw like there was so many colors. Like there was not like Miami fans, because it was Miami versus New York Giants, and it was just funny. They're all blowing whistles, like what the heck?
Like kazoos. And
yeah,
stuff
it's
like
like what the heck? You know, they're all like each team, anything good happen on each side, they'd all cheer.
Yeah,
like they'd all cheer. It's like, well, I guess there's no home crowd.
Well, no, I think they're used to it because in soccer games over there, they separate the fans. So, like, there's 3 tickets, right? There's either you're on this side, or you're neutral. And that's how they section people off. So there's, like, less fights and less riots and stuff like that. They're pretty crazy.
It's so weird because when we were there, like, people were like, are you playing in Wembley? Like, you're playing in Wembley.
Yeah, you're
like,
going to touch the grass?
You're going to touch the grass.
Yeah.
And it was I played in there, Wembley, 2007, and then I think I played there twice with the Pats.
Yeah, no, I think, a couple
twice. Yeah.
Well, like
Jacksonville and then the Rams.
Like yeah.
So I played there 3 times. But the grass is actually in England, soft? It's so slippery. So what they do is Wembley for soccer, it's almost like the grass it's on clay, so it's super slick. It's like really wet and slippery slick. And it's not very thick, so because I guess a soccer ball, they want it to roll.
Yeah.
So they keep the grass like kind of thin. So like you have to wear your 7 studs, you have to wear the 3/4, or else you're just all over the place. I remember the first kickoff, I was running down, I tried to plant, I just slipped on my back. Like you couldn't see my name or anything because it's like I fell. It was just a complete like clay mud. I didn't like playing on that stadium. The turf it's meant for soccer. It's not meant for football.
Probably played in Mexico too, right?
I didn't. I retired. They went to Mexico City. Yeah,
that next year.
Yeah,
definitely interesting, that part of it. But I think that puts us to a wrap on this one, right?
19's done. 19, I'm gonna go look at the Ford GT. I'm gonna go sit in it again one more time.
You gotta sit in it again?
Just one more time. I just want to smell the leather.
You gonna buy it?
Dream.
You gonna text your wife?
Hey, this is one more Mikeism. This is one more Mikeism. I used to ask my dad, "Hey, Dad," I'd show him like a Mustang GT 5.0, like a 93. He'd go, dream, 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 dream. He'd say dream to me.
Yeah, text him and say, I'm about to buy this now because of what you did to me as a kid.
Or he'd sing, you can't always get what you want. Imagine asking for something like everything you got, like, Dad, please. Yeah. And he starts singing, you can't always get what you want. But you try sometimes, you just might find what you need.
You gotta send him now. I can get this. I can get this if I want to. Just write the check.
I think my advisor would say, Rob, you're smoking something. I'm here to advise you on buying things.
This is a good investment.
All right. Let me go look at it.
Yeah. All right. But we'll see you guys next week. But watch us on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, Apple Podcast, Spotify, the whole 9 yards. We'll see you guys next week for the Super Bowl edition.
Super Bowl! TB!